All right, so we've spent a good amount of time in the build-it-yourself world of OpenStack. Now we're shifting gears to look at the other side of the cloud universe, the commercial, platform-first approach you get with Microsoft Azure. And what we're going to see is how focusing on the platform, not just the raw infrastructure, completely changes the game for developers.
So here's what's on deck. First, we'll introduce what makes Azure, well, Azure. Then we'll peek at its core architecture before getting hands-on with a Python app deployment. After that, we'll cover its powerful hybrid capabilities, and we'll wrap it all up with a head-to-head comparison with OpenStack. Think of this as your exam-ready breakdown.
Okay, Section 1, Introducing Microsoft Azure. The really big idea here is a philosophical shift. You know, with OpenStack, we were all about the infrastructure, right? We were managing virtual machines, networks, storage, all that nitty-gritty stuff. With Azure, Microsoft really wants us to level up our thinking and focus on the platform.
And that brings us right to the heart of Azure's strength, PaaS, or Platform as a Service. Now, unlike IaaS, where you're babysitting virtual servers, PaaS abstracts all of that away. Suddenly, you're not worrying about the operating system. You're not patching servers. You're not thinking about the hardware underneath. Nope. Your only job? Bring your code, build your app, and let Microsoft handle the rest.
So let's get into Section 2 and see what this platform is built on. We're going to pop the hood on Azure's core architecture and see what makes this massive global cloud actually work.
At the very core of it all is something called the Azure Fabric Controller, and you gotta love this description. It's literally the operating system for the data center. This is the invisible brain managing Microsoft's absolutely colossal hardware footprint. It's scheduling all the VMs, allocating resources, and, this is the crucial part, handling failures automatically. If a server dies, the Fabric Controller just spins up your VM somewhere else. It's the magic that makes the whole thing feel so seamless.
Now, when you build an app using Azure's PaaS model, you're typically working with two fundamental types of compute instances, or roles. First, you have the web role. Think of this as your front door. It's the part of your application that's listening for HTTP requests and interacting directly with your users. But what about the heavy lifting? Well, that's where the worker role comes in. It runs quietly in the background, crunching numbers, processing images, or running any kind of long, intensive task that you don't want slowing down the user experience.
And of course, your application needs to store data. Azure gives you a few key tools for this. You've got blobs, which are perfect for your big, unstructured files. Think videos, images, backups. Then there's tables, which offer a simple NoSQL key value store for structured data. But the real secret sauce that connects our web and worker roles are the queues. The web role can drop a message into a queue, like, hey, process this new image. And a worker role will pick it up and get to work. It's a brilliant and simple way to build really scalable, decoupled applications.
All right, that's enough theory. Section 3 is where we put it all together. We're going to walk through the workflow for deploying a Python web app, and this is where the pure power of PaaS really shines.
So, the most important thing to see on this slide is step number 4, Git push Azure master. Just think about that for a second. You set up your resources once, and from that point on, deploying your application is just a standard Git command. You push your code, and the Azure platform just takes over. It figures out all the dependencies, builds your application, and deploys it to the web roles you configured. There's no SSHing into servers, no messing with configuration files. You make a change, you commit, you push, and it's live. It's that simple.
And that right there is the PaaS experience in a nutshell. It is designed for one thing: speed. It lets you focus on writing code and shipping features, not on managing servers. It's a fully managed environment that is designed to get out of your way.
Okay, let's move on to Section 4. A huge challenge for big companies is that they can't just flip a switch and move everything into the cloud. They've got legacy systems, data regulations, entire data centers they've already invested in. Azure's hybrid capability is Microsoft's direct answer to this messy, real-world problem.
Azure offers some really cool tools to bridge this gap. For instance, you can set up a VPN that makes your Azure virtual machines look like they're sitting right on your company's local network. That makes integrating with old databases a whole lot simpler. And then you have this idea of cloud bursting. Imagine your private data center handles your normal day-to-day traffic, but during a massive holiday sale, it gets overwhelmed. With cloud bursting, you can automatically burst that extra load onto Azure's massive infrastructure and then scale right back down when things get quiet. It's truly the best of both worlds.
And that brings us to our final section, the showdown. We're going to put Azure and OpenStack side by side to really hammer home the differences between these two powerful but fundamentally different approaches to cloud computing.
This table really sums it all up, doesn't it? OpenStack is open source, it's focused on IaaS, and it gives you absolute control over everything. But, and this is a big but, you have to install, configure, and maintain it all yourself, which requires some serious infrastructure knowledge. Azure, on the other hand, is a commercial, managed service with a strong focus on PaaS. Microsoft handles the infrastructure so you can focus on your app. The learning curve doesn't disappear, it just shifts from the infrastructure layer up to the application and platform services layer.
This quote really frames the central trade-off perfectly. Now, when it says free, it's talking about OpenStack's open source software. But we all know your time and your team's salaries are definitely not free. Setting up and running an OpenStack cloud is a major engineering project. Azure offers speed and convenience, a platform that lets you deploy in minutes, but it's a commercial service and it comes with a price tag.
So, as you can see, there's no single right answer here, just a very clear set of trade-offs. Here's how to think about it. If you need absolute, granular control, if you want to avoid vendor lock-in, and you have the engineering muscle to manage it, an IaaS platform like OpenStack is a beast. But if your main goal is speed, rapid development, and offloading all that painful infrastructure management, then a PaaS platform like Azure is a massive accelerator. Ultimately, it all comes down to one simple question. What problem are you trying to solve? Which tool is right for your job?